Good evening friends and welcome to Malhotra's IAS. So in this video we are going to discuss your Nolan committee's important recommendations. So this committee made recommendations with regard to your values that public servants should imbibe in their conduct on day-to-day basis when they are dealing with the public affairs. So we keep hearing about such incidents when we see the cases of bribery on the hands of public servants, when we see abuse of people's rights by your public servants. So all those problems can be combated if these public civil servants are given right kind of value training. Okay, so there are some set of values or principles that public servants should imbibe in their daily conduct to create ethical government, and those set of 7 values have been provided by your Nolan committee that we are going to discuss here. So there will be 2 videos on this committee. This is the first video and here we will discuss 3 of its recommendations or the values that it gave. So to get a comprehensive coverage of this committee, you need to watch both the videos. Okay, now let's start with today's discussion. So this committee was basically set up in England or Britain by the John Major government. So this committee came out with 7 such recommendations, okay, which were called as the 7 principles of public life. ठीक है, ऐसी 7 values that your public servants should imbibe in their daily conduct. ठीक है, रोज जब वो daily affairs में they deal with the people, they deal with the public money, they will deal with high offices of extreme authority. तो उनको अच्छे से use कैसे करना है so that they provide good governance. They provide good governance to people. That is what has been recommended by your Nolan committee. These are some of the prominent members of the committee as shown in the picture. So now let's start the discussion. The very first value that has been suggested by the committee is the value of selflessness. Selflessness. So as the name suggests, ठीक है, this value talks about thinking beyond self. अपने बारे में नहीं सोचना, rather the civil servant should think about the interests of the public, So that is what holders of public office should completely act in the public interest, So to understand this point better, I'll give you an example of a very famous and very ethical civil servant, S.R. Shankaran Sahab. You can see him in the picture. So basically, you see, to give his 100% to the duty of civil services, to provide the best services, he even took that decision to remain unmarried for his life so that he can devote his all time and energy to the job of civil services. So he did many influential works. He worked for the interest of bonded labor. He also worked for the interest of SCs and STs in the community. So in that way he worked to alleviate poverty and hunger in the society. So that is the kind of selflessness that he showed. ठीक है, you have also seen such examples during COVID time. हमने देखा कि इतने civil servants थे, especially police officers, who worked for long hours beyond their duty hours so that they could help the people or the students stuck because of COVID situations, who didn't have shelter, who didn't have food. So these civil servants provided those services to those people regardless of the time and energy they had to invest to serve those people. ठीक है, अपने बारे में ना सोच के they thought about the interests of the people. So that is what is selflessness. Okay, you don't think about your own self, but you think about the interests of the public. That is what is selflessness. One example is S.R. Shankaran, and you can also take many examples from your COVID times. You might have studied in the newspapers. So there are innumerable such civil servants who worked relentlessly during COVID times, right? That is the first value. The second value is integrity. A very important term, always asked in your ethics paper or GS4 paper. They ask you either to define this term or they base multiple questions on this term, integrity. So what basically integrity is? Okay, integrity defines the implies the highest moral standards that a person can have. So when you are talking about a civil servant, integrity means that they do not put themselves under any obligation to anyone. ठीक है, वो किसी भी तरीके से किसी से ऐसा फेवर नहीं लेते या ऐसे एडवांटेजेस नहीं लेते कि जिसके बदले में दे हैव टू गिव बैक दोज फेवर्स और एडवांटेजेस बाय मिसयूजिंग देयर ओन अथॉरिटी. ठीक है, जैसे आपको एग्जांपल देती हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल यू सी अ सिविल सर्वेंट शुड नेवर आस्क फॉर अ फेवरेबल पोस्टिंग from a politician. ठीक है, because if they ask for a favorable posting from a politician, then they will have to return back that favor in the form of using their or misusing their own authority to the interest of the politician. ठीक है, आपने politician से ये फ़ायदा तो ले लिया कि आपने अपनी फेवरेट जगह पे पोस्टिंग करा ली, बट इन रिटर्न पॉलिटिशियन विल ऑल्सो आस्क फॉर फेवर्स वेन एवर ही वॉन्ट्स. ठीक है, तो अगर आप एक फेवर ले रहे हो, अपने आप को ऑब्लिगेशन के अंडर डाल रहे हो, देन यू विल have to repay that, and that can come in any way, in unethical ways, in irregular ways, immoral ways, कैसे भी. ठीक है, in the same manner a civil servant should never take favors from a businessman or any influential personality in the form of money or non-monetary benefits like clothes, okay, or trips, free trips from businesses. We see that civil servants usually get involved in these things. So all these things put that civil servant under an obligation to return the favor. और जब return favor करना पड़ेगा तो you don't know in what way you will have to return that. अपनी authority को misuse करना पड़ सकता है. You have to overlook that businessman's unethical acts. So it can take various forms, and it will result in you doing injustice to your own duty and your own post. ठीक है, तो इंटेग्रिटी होती है यू अवॉइड प्लेसिंग योरसेल्फ अंडर एनी ऑब्लिगेशन टू एनीवन. ठीक है, किसी से फेवर इस तरीके से नहीं लेना है दैट यू बिकम ऑब्लाइज्ड to return them the favor in whatever manner they may ask you to. ठीक है, so you neither have to get any financial or monetary benefits or non-monetary या material benefits in the form of clothes, trips, anything that can be. ठीक है, integrity मतलब है you never place yourself at the hostage of other person's will. ठीक है, that is the basic meaning of integrity. Objectivity, another very important term, ethical term that you must use in your answers whenever writing about answers of ethics. Objectivity. Objectivity is nothing but thinking rationally, taking decision based only on merit of the case. ठीक है, अब कास्ट, रिलीजन, पॉलिटिक्स या एनी अदर illogical, irrational basis पे you are not making your decisions. You means civil servant here. So no civil servant is making any decision based on any irrational factor. Only the economy of the judgment is being seen or the merit of the case is being seen. ठीक है, तो जैसे आप एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हैं रघुराम राजन साहब की. सो व्हेन ही वाज द गवर्नर ऑफ RBI, ही ऑलवेज टुक डिसीजंस बेस्ड ऑन द इकोनॉमी, based on the economic factors, because he is the governor, he is a banker, he is required to work on the basis of economics. इसीलिए उनको गवर्नर की पोस्ट पे अपॉइंट किया गया है. He never let politics influence his decisions related to RBI. Okay, फिर that might have brought him in conflict with the government of the day, because of which he had to resign also, but that did not affect his objective decision making. Right, so that is the kind of civil servants we require, who work based on the merit of the case or who work on rational principles. Right, no other principles or no other reasons should guide their decision making. That is the meaning of objectivity and the third recommendation of your Nolan committee. Now we will see a very good example of a very ethical civil servant. His name is U Sagyam. Okay, U Sagyam. So he is a very ethical civil servant and he portrays all the qualities that we have discussed till now: integrity, selflessness, objectivity. Even the coming values that Nolan committee has recommended has been shown by this civil servant. So देखिए, there are some of the very significant works and activities that he has done. For example, he has rejected bribes multiple times in his tenure, for which he had to bear the wrath or the anger of many politicians and businessmen also, and because of which he has been transferred also multiple times within his career. एक साल एक जगह पे एक साल में तो वो कभी रहे ही नहीं हैं. एक साल में 2 to 3 or 4 transfers he has witnessed because of his such honest and integrity wala attitude. Okay, so that is what his first contribution to civil services and civil services values has been, right? Second, also you see the example of he didn't bow down to these big businessmen. We have talked about this in integrity. So he did not bow down to any politician or businessman. Even Pepsi Cola जैसे बड़े business brands को भी he didn't fear, okay, that they may retaliate or harm his interests, but he worked according to the need of the his duty, okay, the requirements of his job. So he even sealed their plants because dirt was found in the bottles sold by your Pepsi Cola brand. ठीक है, okay. Also, see, he is the first civil servant in the history of India who has voluntarily disclosed his assets on the website of the government. ठीक है, इन्होंने अपनी खुद की assets, इनकी जो भी कमाई और प्रॉपर्टी थी, he gave the details of those assets on the government website. So he was the first such civil servant to do so. Okay, that is also a sign of immense integrity and selflessness that he showed. Also, to protect some evidence related to a case, he even slept in a graveyard for one night. ठीक है, that was the level of his commitment to doing his job, to protecting the evidence that he was made in charge of. So that is another achievement or value or quality attached to this man, right? So you see, there is one sign that has been posted on his door, on his office door, that says, "Reject bribes, hold your head high." That should be the motto of each and every civil servant that we see in our country. ठीक है, तो कभी भी ethics में they ask you what kind of values you want civil servants to imbibe or you think that civil servants should have. So that is where you will mention such qualities: selflessness, and give the examples also that I have given, and you can also make your own examples. Integrity, okay, and then also objectivity, okay, then rejecting bribes and holding head high. That should be the mantra of each and every civil servant. Civil servants को बहुत authority मिलती है इंडिया में, so they can make decisions as they want. Discretion is high for civil servants, so it is very necessary that they act in public interest in a selfless manner and do not put themselves under any obligation to any politician or businessman, and take all their decisions in an objective or rational or a merit-based manner. That is how our country is going to progress ahead. So that was all about the first part of Nolan Committee's recommendations. Hope it helps. If you have any doubts, post it in the comment section and I'll respond to that. Thank you so much for watching.